Dear ones, I am Archangel Michael. I'm going to start today by commenting on Sananda's letter number 8. In fact, letter number 8 is a great summary of everything that has already been said. But mainly with the issue of conscience, of what emanates from you, how you react to each situation, of how that reverberates in you and in the whole. In general terms, everything that has been said, I have already commented here. I have already explained in a previous letter, how thought forms reverberate throughout the universe. And so it is. How the ego works through you. And so it is. So if we were to analyze the behavior of each one of you, if you stopped here today, and looked back at everything, and how you reacted to mundane situations, you would come to the conclusion that you are horrible, because thinking from an energetic perspective, you will only cause bad things. This will be the tendency of each of you, because you have the tendency to always maximize what is bad and minimize what is good. If you act correctly throughout the day, but in a small moment you fight, you get upset, you get out of line, which is marked in your mind, I got out of line. Then all that rest of the day, that you kept perfect, kept balanced, kept loving, died, you killed. Because you valued that little moment of slipping so much, that everything else was gone, that was the most important thing, no, how you maintained yourself for most of the day. So, this is how everything in your world happens. You always maximize the negative side, the bad side, leaving the positive side alone. When it should be exactly the opposite, you would have to vibrate all the time, be grateful for how positive you were that day, don't emphasize the negative side. That's why you attracted everything that is there today. You guys spend the day well. They went to work, spent a loving day, the work paid off, it was a magnificent day. Then you get home, turn on your television, and there comes a barrage of bad news, and then you let yourself be contaminated, and start commenting only on the bad news. That loving, wonderful, prosperous day of yours was not important to you. You will go to sleep with a heavy heart thinking about everything you experienced because of that news. Then many may think, so good energies don't have all that power, why do I always vibrate stronger when I vibrate negatively? No, that's not it. It's just that their minds have been conditioned to vibrate the negative. The positive is not funny, the positive, let's say, is normal, so it's not worth commenting. What is worth commenting on is, how many died today, how many were robbed, how many had their houses broken into, how many had their cars stolen, how many women were raped, how many women were murdered. These are the numbers you see all the time. And then you focus on this news because it brings agony, it brings sadness, and every bad feeling multiplies very quickly. Why? I would like you to think and answer me why. Whoever answered because it generates fear is absolutely correct. Because all this flood of news generates fear, and fear is the strongest feeling you have to emanate, and it kills everything else. So notice what you have around you. You just emanate that, so you always have more of it, more of the same. My brothers, Sananda, our Father or Mother God, we all beings of light always teach you unconditional love. So as long as you vibrate revenge, fear, against those who attack you, the more you attract it, including their lives and the lives of their families. Because often that family member isn't even thinking about it, he's on his own and you stay inside the house. Is he going to be robbed today? Is someone going to do something to him? You are emanating this energy to him, and the universe hears you, and he ends up suffering something, not because he was emanating it, but because you emanated so much, that you created an egregore around him that ended up attracting exactly your fear. Then many here will now say, the Archangel now just wants to blame us for everything. If you want to interpret it this way, yes, I want to put the blame on your shoulders, because it is you who are doing wrong, not us. You blame everything wrong that happens to the universe, to the sky. Why did God do this to me? God didn't do anything. You are reaping what you sowed, what you emanated, what someone close to you emanated. We have nothing to do with it. You reap what you sow. This is the phrase you have to remember every minute, in everything you do. I'm tired of saying here, when you do things with love, with feeling, it comes back to you as prosperity, with good things. But what pleasure do you get from doing the same thing every day, repeating the same tasks every day, that doesn't give you any pleasure? Yes, I agree that doing repetitive work is tiring, so I'll ask you another question. If you didn't have this job, if you worked outside the home, would your life be the same? I don't know, maybe it was. But the vast majority of you today cannot afford the luxury, as you say, of being without a job. Many don't have a partner to help, so if you lose this boring job, what will happen to your life? What will become of those who depend on you? So why, instead of saying that your work is boring and boring, don't you try to improve? Don't you seek to grow? Don't you try to find a more pleasant job? But the job is difficult. Okay, you've already made the first decree, jobs are difficult. So do you know when you will find a new job? It will take a long time, because you already said it is difficult, you have already emanated this to the universe. And then there is also that vast majority, who sit at home on the couch, complaining that they can't find a job. I can't find a job, I can't work. Sitting on the couch, jobs really won't knock on your door, this rarely happens. You have to be very good for someone to come to your door and beg you to do that job. And then many leave home every day. Here I go for another day, I already know I won't find anything. You've already decided, it's better not to leave the house, because you really won't find anything. My brothers, I am here always hitting the same chord. Be careful with what you emanate, be careful with what you say. If you find your work boring, you are emanating that to the universe, and then what happens? Every day it became more boring, as if every day someone made it heavier, and the work is the same, but you feel it getting worse and worse. Because you are emanating this, you are telling the universe that you don't like doing that. And what is your action in this regard? Do you try to change? Do you try to make that job a little less boring? Put on some music while you work, think about good things while working, hum a song, that is, attract positive vibrations to what you are doing. Ask the angels for help, say, my angels, help me fulfill this task with lots of love. And they will be happy to help you. But you don't want to know about any of that, you just want to complain, to say that everything is bad, to say that everything is boring, to say that he can't take this life anymore. Only good things, you only say good things, and then complain about how things come back to you. My brothers, change your vibrations, change your thoughts. While you're doing that boring job, think, how could I make this job more enjoyable, or, how could I find a new job that would make me happier, and even better financially? Universe, show me. Show me a path that I can follow, that is within my reach, to find a more enjoyable job. Okay, you played for the universe, and wait for the answer, because it will come showing you a path that will certainly be better than what you are complaining about. Because nothing that comes back from the universe is to get worse, it is always to get better. In fact, there is a detail, many times some paths are shown, and you say, my God, this is worse than where I am, what a crazy answer that is. I ask for help and you give it back to me, universe. This is horrible. Because you didn't even stop to think. Because be sure that what you said at first was horrible may be horrible now, but down the road it will bring you much more joy, and much more prosperity than where you are. But you only saw the negative side, you only saw that it was a difficult and bad job. So you threw it away. So this is the cadence you give your lives. Complain, complain, and complain. I already explained to you what complaining is. When you cry out, you ask for something, when you complain, you ask for the same thing. So you're asking for that same thing again. So if you complain, the world sucks. What are you crying out for? Are you affirming that the world sucks, and what comes back to you? More drugs, more difficulties, but lessons, because you are emanating this, you are complaining about it. You already get up, complaining, today I'm going to do everything I always do, everything the same. Okay, the universe sends everything the same, with a much greater burden because you complained. Many think that this is all nonsense, that they are tired of talking and nothing happens. So start weighing things up. That's what I told you, you have a daily scale of your life, everything that you say is good, everything that you wish for good, goes on one scale, the rest goes on the other. At the end of the day, be sure that the negative is down there, and the positive is up there, tiny, because you spend most of the day complaining. And then that moment of joy when you asked for a lot of things disappears, because what you asked for on the contrary is much greater. Then you complain that nothing happens, nothing I ask for happens. Okay, you've already made a decree, nothing you ask for happens. Then nothing you ask will happen, you have just decreed it. It's my brothers, you continue to think that this is all nonsense, that what I'm saying is nonsense, continue and you will continue with your miserable lives, as you are to this day. Not miserable in terms of finances, but miserable in terms of feelings, because you are only cultivating negative feelings. And then you'll say, wow, I'm such a good person, I've never hurt anyone, why don't I have a train ticket? I wonder why? I've also said this here, the train ticket is not just about being good, not hurting anyone, as you think that being good, being highly energetic, is just someone who doesn't hurt anyone. But you can say negative things all day long, but I don't hurt anyone. So I'm good. Okay, what you said all day is not taken into account. Excellent. So that ticket will never actually go into your hand. I already said this, my brothers, it is a set of actions that will make you have the ticket in hand, it is not just a single virtue. You have to improve every day try to be better. Don't let your ego grow inside you. You are not the center of the world. Think of yourself first, very well. But think about whether everything you are emanating is good for each other and for the whole. Because that could be very good for you, and if it's not good for someone else, for the whole? It's over, the ego is there 100%, you only thought of yourself. My brothers, it is not easy, I recognize that it is not, because you were used to worshipping these feelings, of course to keep you increasingly immersed in this mud of the third dimension. It is as if you are sinking more and more every day, until there will come a point where there will be no more salvation, you will not have the slightest chance of being rescued from this mud, because you are totally caught up in it. So be careful with what you emanate, be careful with what you desire. Repeating the words that Sananda speaks, you reap what you sow, this is the purest truth. So every time you talk or think something, remember this phrase, I reap what I sow. As much as many think that thoughts have no power, they do, and I say more, there is a very important catalyst there, in thought and in words, which is the heart, which is the feeling. If you say or think something bad, but in a somewhat superficial way, of course it goes out into the universe, it doesn't go unnoticed, but as you like analogies, let's say it goes out weighing 1 gram, then when you say that with feeling, with anger, with hatred, it weighs 1 kilogram, so that you understand the difference that feeling makes. So be careful with what you say, be careful with what you feel, because you sow what you reap. This is the truth, there is no other. Our Father or Mother God, not even a being of light, is guilty of anything, you bring into your world what you emanate. Finishing letter number 8, at the end of it there is a prayer, which Sananda recommends to be done before meditation. So this is a very important point. Copy this prayer and say it with all love. And you will be able to see how different your meditations will be. No, I don't mean meditations in relation to the cards, no, the meditations as a whole. Because this prayer has a very powerful energy. So do it, create the habit of saying this prayer before starting your meditations. It will be very interesting. It's my brothers, I'm going to do a small one at the end of the video. Many are noticing that Gaia is a little angry. The waters are extremely violent. I already told you that the light energies are getting stronger and stronger. That's where I don't understand, if the light energies are getting stronger and stronger, how come there are more and more problems here on the planet? Apparently you didn't understand anything. Because the energies that are arriving are the energies of purity, the energies of truth. So I'm going to ask a single question. Why are your rivers overflowing? Did you build your houses and then the river came? Did you worry about not destroying the riverbanks with your houses? Did your rulers care about keeping the rivers clean so they could flow naturally? Did you worry about not throwing trash into the rivers? Were you concerned about not harming the river? Ah, but this is a small stream that runs close to the house. Yes, it is a small stream, but with very intense rain, it becomes a small river and it will want to pass. And then what do? You take the river and put it inside a tube. Rivers were not made to pass through tubes. So my brothers, you have to start understanding things in a different way. This is not punishment, punishment does not exist. This is just the consequence of what you have done over many, many years, of the total lack of love for Gaia. Gaia is not doing anything, it's just showing what you did. Only that. Mountains are not a place to build, riverbanks are not the place to build. So who is attacking who? Who is wrong? The river that has to pass? The rain that has to come down the mountain? And because you deforest the mountain, it comes down. Who is wrong? That's all that's happening, my brothers. The truths are being thrown in your faces. You are all to blame. Just that. I already told you a while ago, and I don't know if you remember, and I'll repeat, everything that is artificial, that was created, on Gaia's soil, changing its course, altering its structure, will be resumed. I already said this here. You understand it however you want. Gaia got tired. She wants to be a free planet again. And as I've already said, before you start talking, no one is in the wrong place at the wrong time, everyone will be in the right place at the right time. Do not suffer the suffering of others. Everyone reaps what they sow, just that. Everyone reaps what they sow. So this letter number 8 has this phrase as its motto. I want you to think a lot about it, every moment, every minute that you think or do something. This is also a task, my brothers, but it's not a one-day task, it's a lifelong task, it's a lifelong task, it's a task that must be accomplished every second, because you think all the time. Change your vibrations, change your thoughts, make that positive side of the scale come down, and you can effectively become enlightened beings. Only then will you be entitled to that train ticket, otherwise you are just sinking into the mud that is the third dimension. I am Archangel Michael. And I would really like each one of you to modify your thoughts, your words, so that I can effectively see this army of warriors of light, increasingly brighter, increasingly illuminated.